Hello, I'm Vicki Rhodes. I'm going to share with you today how to create this fabulous clock that can either be hung on a wall or displayed on an easel in your home or office. We're going to begin today with just a Masonite round. Now this is only tempered on one side. It could be tempered on both. It's cut an 11-inch circle. The center is a 3/8-inch hole drilled for your clockworks to go through. You're going to select your favorite scrapbook paper, and this needs to be a 12 by 12 sheet. Then I'm going to take my circle cutter and place my paper, center it on my cutter, or excuse me, on my pad, and then I'm going to cut my circle. Okay? And if you're nervous about getting your circle cut exact, if it's not exactly covering your Masonite round, you can add a little bit of paint. The other thing is, if you want to cut a demo or a sample piece before you begin, just use a piece of regular paper or newspaper to make certain that it's the size you want it. And you can make adjustments quickly with the cutter. So after I've cut my circle, then I'm going to put some sealer. All right. So we're going to use a piece of freezer paper, the shiny side up, our circle that we have cut, and then I'm going to put an all-purpose sealer on the back. I start by just pouring some onto the freezer paper, brushing it out to get it even. And then I can just lay my circle into the sealer, making sure everything is covered. What this does is this is going to help make your paper more durable. It actually will have a feel almost like a fabric, so that we can apply it to our surface without it wrinkling and bubbling. So after I've put it on the back, then I'm going to continue to apply the sealer to the front side so that I have the entire round saturated with sealer. Now if it feels a little bit thick, you can add just a tiny bit of water so that it moves nicely, but you do want to make sure that the sealer saturates the surface of your paper. Make sure you brush out all the little ridges so you don't have areas that it's heavy. Then I'm going to set that back out of the way and allow that to dry. So now I've allowed that to dry on the freezer paper, and it's a good idea to set it so it's flat and it doesn't curl up. Otherwise, your paper is going to curl when you remove it from the freezer paper. So I'm going to now carefully pull it off of my freezer paper, and you can see this sealer that's out over the edge. Now I'm going to adhere it to my Masonite round. So I'm going to again center it. I'm going to start in the center, use my all-purpose sealer, brush underneath it, start in the center, and work out to the edges. Make sure you have a good layer. And then I'm going to put the paper in place, lay the paper, and gently start to smooth and work out. Now you don't want big, thick ridges of paint or of sealer on the back. So I'm going to work, turn around to the other side now. Working quickly because it will start to dry. And just work with your fingers and smooth out all of the bubbles. Now there may be a few bubbles that pop up, but as soon as it's dry, starts to dry, they will level out and they'll go away. If not, you can always put a button where the bubble is. All right, now the fun part begins because it's your choosing day. You may choose vintage pieces, like here I have gathered old buttons, some of them with pieces missing, buttons, earrings, you could use old keys, that's an old earring as well. So bits and pieces, scraps of fiber, yarn, whatever you choose. These are, the items over here are vintage pieces. So if you like that look, they're a little less bright, a little more toned. Or over here, these pieces are brighter and they're all new products which are readily available, and the difference. These are a lot more happy, fun, cheery color, and these would be my choosing day. So we're going to start to lay them in place, and then I do what I call a color audition, where I put them onto the piece, arrange them, and then I walk past and look at them for a couple of days and move them around and make sure that they're absolutely perfect where I want them in place. So these are just a little bit of ribbon and beads. You can add some diagonals, add some ribbons as well across. You can also, let me show you the finished one. Now this was an old earring, part of a button. I've stacked my buttons. Single buttons, run a ribbon through your button. There's some fabulous keys available, and a key could be put onto a button as well. Now I've applied these using just my hot glue gun or the E6000 because it remains flexible. Your hot glue sometimes can pop off. And then of course I put my hands in place, my clockworks in my hands. Now the hole in the center, you can actually just find it and take an X-Acto knife and slice through, and then put your clockworks through the back and add your hands. Now if you don't have hands that are the color that you want them, you can certainly paint them. So after you've got your clockwork in, that completes our clock, and you can see how much fun this can be to create this one-of-a-kind treasure that you'll love forever. Thank you so much for your time.